Dude, what's the deal with you violating clothes? You becoming a man now? You a suit? What's a tie?
No. This is in honor of the Detroit Lions, Pittsburgh Steelers. In a game nobody wanted to win, they tied, so I wear a tie today. I hope you check the comments because I told you without Big Ben, stay away. Still, this is inexcusable.
That's terrible.
Yeah, they say like a tie is kissing your sister.
Or playing golf for no money. Either way, it sucks. Sure Shot, Week 11, coming up right now.
Always a good look. All right, man. That damn Tom Brady does it again. You know, Tampa goes to Washington. They're more than a touchdown favorite. You're figuring that Tom Brady figured out how to go into D.C. and get a W. But I'll say this for Taylor Heinicke. He looked across to the sideline, and it was like he stepped on the field thinking, last January, I'm supposed to beat him. And then he went out and he did it. He outplayed Tom Brady.
He did. I can't believe it. That's why Brady's in the trash can. But was that Heineke or was that Joe Theismann? Was that Mark Rippon? Who was that at quarterback for the Washington football team? Who was that putting Washington up 10 points over Tampa Bay? Unbelievable. And what do you think about Bruce Arians ripping the team, particularly Brady, right after?
Thomas was getting out of his hand. And there were a couple of times I thought he could have held on a lot longer. Versus some coverage, just take your check down and get to the next play.
Well, Bruce is who Bruce is. And to know Bruce is to love Bruce. And I don't think it had any effect on his relationship with Tom Brady because Brady is used to being berated by Bill Belichick.
But isn't that part of the reason why he left New England, because he got a little too old for that, you know?
I'm too old for this.
Well, but I think he, in a different environment, where the weather is primarily warm, and in another intangible, I did think that Tampa looked like a cold football team coming up into an environment that was a little bit cooler than they expected it was from a temperature standpoint. Sometimes you do have warm weather teams who find it difficult to make the adjustment. This was the first cold weather game that unit that's based in Florida played in a cold weather environment this year. So I just want to put that out there as a possibility. However, the fact remains is, even away from Brady on the sidelines, when Washington keeps the ball for 10 and a half minutes and runs down what's supposed to be one of the best defensive teams in the league's throats, and I think that's what shocked me most of all. Washington able to play physical against Tampa Bay, and Heineke was just on point.
And losing Chase Young for the year. But you know what shocked me most of all? Let's go to New England.
Well,
the progressive spokesperson commercial guy does nothing. And Bill Belichick, he's back.
yeah, he is.
With those Patriots. Unbelievable. 45-7, man.
Well, we're watching Mac Jones take baby steps. He's gone from
Giant baby
infant
steps
to toddler in 3 months.
Unbelievable.
Now he's going to be a certified walking and running kid by the playoff time. Look, New England is scary dangerous right now because where they have what I like to refer to is championship savvy is the second most important place, and that's on the sidelines. When you got guys that know how to win and get teams together, the late, great John Thompson Jr. Used to talk about great coaches being like jockeys. They know when to crank the whip. They know when to ease up. There's never been a better jockey in the history of team sports than Bill Belichick. Player development, understanding the intangibles that make great players, and how to put them in positions to win. They've done all that with Mac Jones. Their defense is solid. Look, you can make a compelling argument right now. Matthew Judon is Defensive Player of the Year for the impact that he's having coming off the rush when they said that he couldn't get to the quarterback in Baltimore. The Patriots are scary right now.
They are,
if
but
you
they're
hate them.
still dealing with a rookie quarterback. We've got an extra week of football this year, so he's going to play 17 games. Remember, he's coming right out of college. At some point, I think he may just lose his wind. I mean, we'll see how long they can keep him going. But Bill knew what he was doing when he cut Cam and said, we're going to go with the young guy.
Man, look, they're going to run the football. They're going to be efficient. They're going to run the football, play defense. That's always been the tenets of what the Patriots do. You can talk about when they all the Brady stuff that you want. With all due respect to TB12, they won Super Bowls with the immortals of, Antoine Smith. His receivers were David Patton and Givens and the like. They know how to win on a shoestring budget, and they getting it in.
And, speaking of right place, right time, look at Cam, who I just mentioned, going right back home to Carolina and getting it done in a hostile environment in Arizona. What a win for Cam. What do you got to say about this guy?
By the time I get to Carolina. Anyway, back with you on the other side. The Salton, the sports book, is next. Dropping the knowledge on us. Must plays, stay aways, as Sure Shot continues. The Salton of the Sportsbook joins us right now. He is Corey Parson at the Fantasy Executive on any of those social media devices that you play with. And you can catch him at NBCSportsEdge.com. CP, what's the deal?
Feeling pretty good, coming off a strong week in week 10. Looking forward to pushing ahead to a strong week in week number 11. Got 18 weeks of this season, so thankfully we have, some more football left to go, some more money left to be made. So I'm feeling like I got a pretty good look at the board right now.
All right, so with that being said, I want to dip into the world of trending, since that's the popular thing that we talk about here in this social media world that we live in. From the realm of trending, right now, who are teams that are trending in the direction of must plays? Teams that give you the best chance to cover against the spread.
And stay away.
I tell you what, let's start with some must wins. And I'm for teams that I want people to bet on right now, and obviously get ready for the futures market. Write this down because it's time to get ready to hit this right now. Back in April, people on Twitter, social media, said there's no way you can trade up to number 3 and draft Mac Jones. How crazy does that sound right now? The New England Patriots, that train is on the track. And that train is rolling. And I actually am going to put in a futures wager for the New England Patriots to actually win the AFC. Right now, you can get to that 14-1. But I think the New England Patriots will at least be in the AFC Championship game, which gives you a nice hedging opportunity. You know how these Patriots team go. They tend to get better as the season goes on. And let me tell you something. They hit a home run with Mac Jones.
Wow. Oh, man, you blew me away with that one because we got the Bills, you got the Titans in the AFC.
But to your point, Corey, it's the Belichick factor. For as much as you want to talk about how much Brady impacts the way that Tampa Bay constructs its offense and builds its game plans on a weekly basis, in New England, it's Belichick and his overall, salary cap brilliance, and the fact that they know how to develop talent. He saw something in Mac Jones, and boy, it's like a baby is growing up with the quickness.
It's like you just chopping at the tree. Just keep chopping at the tree. Just keep chopping at the tree. Next thing you know, they're winners of what I believe 4 of their last 5 games. They are clearly in playoff position in the AFC. They're not too far behind the Buffalo Bills. They're still in striking distance to actually win the division. So, you listen, we're seeing it in the NBA with the Golden State Warriors. It's like these organizations that know how to win, they can turn it around real quickly.
And I was telling everybody about Golden State. They thought that I was crazy. I mean, 3 guys with 3 rings don't forget how to win championships. Sorry, I don't care how great LeBron is. I don't care how great Giannis is. 3 guys with 3 rings equals 9 rings. That's a heck of a lot of championship experience. And there's still a lot of rings in New England, too, both on the sidelines as coaches and in that locker room. Corey, I think you may be hitting something there.
Well, Corey, let me ask you about this before we move on. Let me ask you about your Cowboys not making the over-under number at 47.5, but blowing up the Falcons, moving on to the rest of the season here. Where are you on Dallas in terms of Are they a play, and can you now trust them?
Yeah, I think really what you're seeing right now this past week, once again, a lot of the credit for the Dallas Cowboys this season has to go to Dan Quinn. Now, you see the situation in New York. Robert Saleh is still running that antiquated Pete Carroll defense that doesn't work anymore. Pete Carroll don't run it. Dan Quinn stopped running that defense, and all of a sudden, you see they just destroyed Matt Ryan and Atlanta Falcons, who were playing pretty good football up to this point. Situations like what happened, listen, I was on that over two. As a matter of fact, it was a 2-unit bet for me, so I did not like to see that go that way. But in situations like that, the lesson is just bet the over on the Cowboys team total and leave teams like the Falcons out of it altogether. But I think Dallas is going in the right direction. When I look and break down the NFC, I think it's really Dallas, Tampa, and I think I really want to also give a strong play to the Buccaneers. Well, the Buccaneers and another team in the NFC. Oh, the Green Bay Packers. I think the Green Bay Packers are playing real good. A team that I would fade is the Rams because, Mark, you know how you mentioned those win championships? Yeah. There's no rings in Los Angeles.
Von Miller now, though.
Well, you got Von Miller, but it's Odell Beckham's. It's good players, but I like teams. And I think the Rams are starting to lose that team aspect the more they bring in these superstar players.
Mm-hmm. Interesting point. Now, let's talk about the stayaways. And people in Baltimore are going to hate me for this, but I'm staying away from the Ravens right now because I just don't believe that Lamar Jackson can consistently put on the Superman cape in the second half without wearing down by the end of the season. Where do you fall on the Ravens right now in terms of how they're trending as a must-play or a stay-away-from team?
And listen, the AFC North is going to be tough, but I still think the Baltimore Ravens are the best team in the AFC North. I still feel like the Baltimore Ravens season will come. We'll know what the Baltimore Ravens are when we get to the AFC Championship game because I do believe they'll be there. I don't know if that's going to be versus the Patriots, versus the Titans, or maybe even versus the Buffalo Bills, who I think the Buffalo Bills are a team that's not really, a little bit on the fade for me right now. But, Mark, I mentioned it last week. I think we got to get him under center at some point. I think you have to get him under center and then really start the full defenses. Because as long as he's not under center, I think defenses in the playoffs are going to know what to do. I think we got to get him under center. If you put him under center in the playoffs, you can unleash a whole different offense. That'd be interesting to see.
I'm just talking about them getting into the playoffs right now. There's still a whole lot of work to do, and that is a crazy division. What do you make of Kansas City as a must-play or stay away? I mean, they're at the top of the division. All they've done is won, baby. So if you go by what Parson said and your record is what you are,
yeah.
Right, are they the best team in the AFC West?
I would say the AFC West is going to be tough. They can beat all the teams in the AFC West. I think all the teams in the AFC West can beat them. What I will say is that they have the best coach in Andy Reid. They got the best quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. But now we need these two guys to act like it. The first half of the season, all that behind the back and all of that stuff Mahomes is doing, bruh, it's not working. Cut it out. Get the football to Tyreek Hill. Get the football to Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. Let's start running the football.
And that's been the recipe over the last couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. Not the biggest Kirk Cousins fan. What do you make of Minnesota? Must play, stay away.
I would probably have to stay away from Minnesota. It's a little bit too much of an up and down team for me. They struggle with the teams they need to beat. So when it comes time to play that big game versus the Packers, they're going to struggle every single time. When it comes time for that big game against a team like the Saints or the Buccaneers, they're going to struggle. They can beat up on the AFC teams and some of the lower ranks of the NFC, but when they need to win a big game, go against the Packers. This past week versus the Chargers, one of the best games they've played in the Kirk Cousins era, but we know that when they have to play in Green Bay, that's not what you're going to get, and that's the problem with Minnesota.
That was just hate, man. He wanted someone to double down on this Kirk Cousins hate.
Let's go to turn 3, NASCAR country with the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton is back. So what do you make of the Panthers?
Possible playoff team. What Cam does better than anything else is he brings energy. He brings leadership. He's not in the player that he used to be by any stretch of the imagination, but he's still the presence in the locker room. He's still a force on that team. I think Christian McCaffrey plays better with Cam out there. When you look at that 6-7 seed in the NFC, I think the Carolina Panthers can sneak into that spot. They got the big win versus Arizona. They're going to need to get some more of those key wins coming down the stretch. But with Cam there, they can do it. Sam Darnold needs to sit on the bench someplace for a year and then continue his career, because right now he's got happy feet. He's looking down. He's scared to get hit. He needs a year off.
That's our Salton of the Sports Book, Corey Parson. Find him all over the place in cyberspace at The Fantasy Exec, and each and every Friday morning in your inbox, straight out of NBC Sports Edge. What do you call those game notes for the weekend?
Is the NFL betting cheat sheet hitting at over 65% right now. So we're feeling pretty good about that, coming off another strong week last week. Hopefully we can keep it rolling.
Listen to Corey, roll with Corey, and he's always got the sure shot. Thanks a lot, CP.
You got it, man.
Well, after last week's push week, it's time to make sure that we get back after. Hey, let's get him up in here, dude. It's like you and I need to have that moment before the game where somebody steps in the middle. Clean your mind out of everything that's going on.
I thought you were going to say you must protect this house and give me that Ray Lewis.
Well, I was going to say that, and you stepped on my feet. Anyway.
Well, then you kick off then. You go ahead and kick off week 11.
You can do it!
Get it going.
Let's get ready to rumble!
You want to kick off?
All right, let's go. All right, so here's how I'm going to get down this week. I got Green Bay on Monday.
Okay.
Before the final game. And they opened as a 2.5-point favorite at Minnesota. Even though Kirk Cousins is fast becoming to my life what Tom Brady is to yours, I'm going to defy logic and pick Green Bay to cover by 2.5. But
that's going to be a game, man.
By Tuesday, it had moved to 4.
Okay.
If it goes up around 6, you're on your own.
Okay.
But I like the fact that as long as it's under 5, I think Green Bay can win and cover on the road in Minneapolis.
Dangerous game. I'm going to tell you, there's a game this week that I'm going to pick that's going to be for all the marbles as well, but not quite on my first one. On my first game one, Detroit +10 at Cleveland. Well, the good news for Detroit is they stopped the 12-game losing streak. The bad news is they stopped it with a tie. Only Detroit can do that. Anyway, this week, they head to Cleveland to face the progressive spokesperson commercial guy and a team without Nick Chubb. Can they pull out a W? Probably not. But will they cover that 10? Absolutely. Take Detroit +10 at Cleveland.
You are just so wrong.
I really love those commercials.
They are great commercials.
Yeah, really good commercials.
Why can't you?
I just give them props. You know, come on, you're wearing Browns colors.
That was actually I'm wearing
Bengals colors. Yeah,
you know, so I even got my little tiger on there too. There, you know, the fighting Joe Burrows. I tell you what, Kansas City also opened up, believe it or not, early in the week as a 2.5-point favorite. As we speak, they getting 4 at the crib against Dallas.
Oh, I got that game.
I think I'm going to roll with Kansas City.
Really?
Yeah, man. I think this is about the time in the season where Dallas starts slipping on a couple of banana peels. I think Kansas City is figuring some things out. A, nickel and diming their way down the field, Mahomes being patient. B, put more of an emphasis on the conventional ground game and less emphasis on the short passes to move and advance the change. And then Andy Reid knows the Cowboys. And so I like Kansas City to cover in that spot.
Well, let me tell you something. One of us may go undefeated this week.
More money, more money, more money.
But it won't be both of us. Let's go to my game 2. Dallas +2 at Kansas City. This is one heck of a game, as Marcus said, but the Cowboys are coming off that whipping of the Atlanta Falcons. Heading into KC, Chiefs have gotten their swagger back. but so do these Cowboys. In this game, I think the difference will be the Dallas Cowboys defense, and I look for the Cowboys to cover that too, possibly win outright.
Well, I'm going to go for my number 3 pick.
Okay.
And we will head to sunny Southern California, where the Los Angeles Chargers are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh.
Early in the week, this game opened as a 3-point Chargers favorite in that contest. Believe it or not,
it went down.
It did. Well, actually, it's gone up right now. It's 3.5. As I see it as we speak.
Okay, I thought I saw three even. Okay.
All right. That being said, even against my better judgment, something about the Chargers feels right. Steelers may win that game, but it might be a last-second field goal where they only win by 2. I don't think either one of these teams can shake the other. So given that as I place my bet, it's a 3-point Chargers spread, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh does not allow the Chargers to cover, but they win the game.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. These are the games Pittsburgh tends to win, games where people are out, they're not expected to win. In some kind of way they do it. Then they'll play Detroit and tie. Go figure. My game 3, Miami -2 at the New York Jets. The Dolphins look great against the Ravens, but could this game be a letdown? I don't think so. The Jets are sleepwalking through the rest of the season, much like Houston. Look for Miami to make it 2-0. It's only 2 points right now. I like the Dolphins in that one.
All right, and my sure shot pick this week
Straight cash, homie.
is from the Bears and Ravens contest.
Ooh,
and the Ravens are a team that early in the week, a 6-point favorite. You know something? I just don't trust the Ravens by a touchdown that big. I like the Ravens to win the game, but to cover the 6 that they were given to open the week, very, very uncomfortable with that. So despite the offensive misgivings and the struggles, particularly at the quarterback spot, there's something a little funky about the Ravens' offense. And I just think Chicago can play the Ravens tough enough to stay within a touchdown. So I would take Chicago against those points.
Yeah, they did against Pittsburgh. Played us very tough. Chicago's up and down, though, man. Blowout Vegas, then lose the next week. Play the Steelers tough. Who knows what's coming from a good game to pick. My sure shot.
Straight cash, homie.
Washington +2 at Carolina. Speaking of getting their swagger back, look who's starting in Carolina, none other than Cam Newton. Superman himself. Doomsday couldn't kill him because he is back. Well, unlike the aforementioned Tom Brady, who we talked about earlier, I don't think this time Taylor Heineke's going to have what it takes to overcome Cam Newton in his return at home to North Carolina, Charlotte specifically. I would take Carolina, lay that 2 points. Washington will not do it twice.
I can't see it happening that way either. And then, unless Cam is too amped, trying to do too much to prove too many things to his former coach, I think you got the nail right on the head with your shot.
And I didn't even cover that angle, man. Oh, man, this is going to be so good.
Oh, it is. It's soap opera. It's what the NFL wants. Trouble is, if you're in our market, you got the picture.
You guys sort of want
both of them
right?
going on at the same time. Multiple televisions are needed in the DMV. Remember, folks, these picks are for entertainment purposes only. So, by all means, if you've got a problem with gambling, please call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-GAMBLER, and get some help. How do you know if you're having problems? If you're betting a mortgage, if you want to dip into the kids' college fund, or spending money that you don't have, guess what? That qualifies as a problem. Get some help, because we want you back next week on The Short Shot. For Chad, I'm Mark. We out. Deuces.
See you next week.